The world divided. The world is divided into two groups, one believing in divine revelation and the other seeking truth through personal experience. Imagine for a moment that the world was divided into two groups. One believed in divine revelations, each follower eagerly listening to a messenger, claiming the wisdom of the divine. They were told, trust in the words spoken by those chosen by God. The other group was different. They gathered not in search of a message from above, but in search of a truth that could be experienced, tested, and understood through their own minds. Scene 2. Buddha under the tree. Buddha sits under a tree, calm and peaceful. A traveler approaches him seeking answers. Traveler: Buddha, how can I know the truth of God? How can I trust that the path I follow is the right one? Buddha, eyes still closed, voice calm. Imagine, you are lost in a forest. There are many paths, each seeming to lead in different directions. The voices of many travelers call out to you, each offering their own map. One map says, follow this path, for it leads to God. Another map says, take this one, it has been blessed by the divine. But you are lost, and all these maps, no matter how many times you read them, cannot bring you the answer until you step out and walk the path for yourself. Traveler, furrowing brow. But Buddha, how do I know if I'm on the right path? How can I be sure? Buddha, soft smile, calm tone. What if the path to truth is not one handed to you by others, but one that you discover through your own steps? It is not the map that leads you, but the experience of walking itself. As you walk, you learn to read the signs along the way. You learn to recognize when the path is clear and when it is blocked. You learn not just with your mind, but with your body, your senses, your soul. Traveler: but are there no divine signs, no words from God to guide me? Buddha calmly: God speaks, but not in thunder or in words alone. The truth is not something that can only be told, it is something you must discover. When you see the flowers blooming in the spring, the clouds moving across the sky, and the stars shining brightly at night, you are seeing the words of the divine. Every moment of life is a message waiting for you to hear it, but you must be still enough to listen. Scene 3. The Poisoned Arrow. Story: Buddha continues, sharing a story to illustrate his message. Buddha: let me tell you a story. There was once a man who had been struck with a poisoned arrow. He was in great pain, and a doctor came to remove it. But before the doctor could heal him, the man asked, who shot this arrow? What kind of bow was used? What was the name of the one who did this to me? The doctor, seeing the man's pain, said, you are asking about things that do not matter now. The most important thing is to remove the arrow, for only then can you heal. Buddha, eyes meeting the travelers: you are like that man. You ask about divine things, about the nature of God, about the eternal soul. But all of this is like asking about the details of the arrow when the most important thing is to remove the suffering in your own heart. Walk the path of peace, heal yourself, and in time, you will know the truth of God. Scene 4. Reflection and realization. The traveler reflects on Buddha's words, a sense of understanding beginning to emerge. Traveler, thoughtful: I see now. The quest for truth does not lie in endless questioning or seeking answers from others. It lies in the practice of living mindfully, in experiencing each moment with awareness. Buddha, soft smile: the truth is not something to be given to you. It is something you must uncover for yourself. And when you do, you will find that the truth is not far away, but within you all along. Final scene. Lesson. Buddha's calm presence envelops the scene, the world quiet and serene. Narrator: the lesson Buddha imparts is clear. Truth, wisdom, and the divine are not just concepts to be handed down through divine revelation or mystical authority. Rather, they are experiences to be lived and discovered through personal observation, introspection, and mindful practice. Just like the traveler in the story, we must walk our own paths and not simply rely on the maps others give us. The divine speaks not in grand gestures, but in the quiet, everyday moments of our lives, if only we take the time to listen. Scene 1. Buddha as the scientist of the mind. The stage is set with Buddha meditating peacefully under a tree. The world is filled with voices and divine claims, but Buddha remains quiet and observant, ready to offer his revolutionary approach to truth. In a world filled with endless voices, each claiming to have the ultimate truth, there was one man who took a different approach. He didn't speak in the thunderous tone of divine authority, nor did he claim a message sent from the heavens. Instead, he spoke as a scientist, one who observed, tested, and verified through his own experience. His name was Buddha, and his method was revolutionary for his time. Scene 2. Buddha's method of self-discovery. Buddha sits peacefully, surrounded by his followers. He speaks calmly, explaining his scientific approach to life and the mind. Buddha calmly, like a scientist running experiments in the laboratory of his own mind. My discoveries came not from divine revelation, but from deep observation. I don't teach because a divine voice told me so. I teach because I see the connections between actions and consequences, thoughts and suffering. When I realized that greed leads to suffering, it wasn't because a God whispered it to me. I saw it in my own mind. And when I realized that compassion brings peace, it was the result of direct observation, not divine instruction. Scene 3. Buddha's teaching approach. Buddha addresses a group of people seeking his wisdom. He speaks of his teaching strategy, encouraging investigation over blind faith. Buddha, with a soft smile, "Don't accept my teachings because of respect for me. Test them, examine them, rub them, burn them, and cut them. See for yourself if they hold true. Be your own investigator of truth." Buddha encouraged people not to rely on divine authority, but to look within and test everything for themselves. His approach wasn't just to offer answers, but to guide others in their own investigations. Scene 4. The mind as an ecosystem. Buddha walks through a forest, speaking to his disciples about understanding the mind as an ecosystem. Buddha: I don't just teach you how to fish or give you fish to eat. I show you how to understand the entire ecosystem of your mind. Look at the waters of your thoughts and feelings. See where they might be polluted or poisoned. I teach you how to purify these waters so you can learn to drink freely and clearly on your own. Scene 5. Meditation as a tool for understanding. Buddha sits in meditation as his disciples gather around, curious. He explains the role of meditation in self-discovery. Buddha calmly: Meditation is not a mystical ritual or divine command. It is a practical tool, a tool for understanding how the mind works. Here's how to focus your attention. Notice what happens when you observe your thoughts. Test your own mind. See what causes suffering and what brings peace. Scene 6. Buddha's use of questions. A young disciple approaches Buddha with a question about the spiritual path. Buddha responds with a metaphor about music. Disciple: Master, what is the best spiritual path for me to follow? Buddha smiling, gesturing with his hands. What happens when you tune a string too tightly or too loosely? And what happens when you get it just right? The path to wisdom, like music, lies in balance. Instead of answering directly, Buddha used questions and metaphors to guide his disciples to discover the answers themselves. His teachings weren't directives, but invitations to explore and understand. Scene 7. Sariputta's journey of investigation. Sariputta, a scholar, is seen meeting Buddha and hearing one of his teachings. He listens attentively but chooses to test the teaching for himself over several weeks. Sariputta, thinking aloud: I will test what Buddha has taught. I will observe, verify, and validate this for myself. Sariputta, already a respected scholar, spent weeks testing Buddha's teachings. Through his own investigation, he discovered the truth and was deeply impressed by Buddha's method. Sariputta was not a follower because of blind faith, but because he had personally tested and verified Buddha's insights. Scene 8. The monasteries as laboratories of the mind. Buddha's monasteries are seen as vibrant places of learning. Monks debate ideas, test meditation techniques, and explore various states of consciousness. Buddha's monasteries were not places of mere worship, They were centers of learning, where monks tested meditation techniques, explored different states of consciousness, and debated ideas. It was like a daily peer review session, mapping the landscape of human consciousness. Scene 9. Buddha's practical wisdom spreads. The camera shifts to different cultures, showing how people from various walks of life apply Buddha's methods: merchants, farmers, Taoists, and Shinto practitioners. Buddhism didn't demand that people abandon their existing beliefs. Instead, it offered tools that people of all faiths could use to explore and deepen their own understanding. From China to Japan, from merchants to farmers, Buddha's practical wisdom was embraced by many. Scene 10. Buddha's insights and modern science. The scene shifts to a modern-day lab, where neuroscientists and psychologists study meditation and mindfulness techniques that Buddha taught centuries ago. Many of Buddha's insights align closely with teachings that others have claimed came from divine revelation. Modern science, from neuroscience to psychology, is now validating what Buddha observed centuries ago. Meditation reshapes the brain, compassion leads to lasting happiness, and inner peace is the key to long-term contentment. Scene 11. Buddha's final lesson. Buddha speaks directly to his followers one last time, sharing the essence of his message. Buddha with a gentle smile. Truth is not something handed down from above. It is something to be discovered through direct experience. You must observe your mind, understand its patterns, and test theories for yourself. Do not take my word for it. Look within, investigate, see what you discover. In a world where people are overwhelmed by conflicting truths, Buddha's message stands as a beacon of wisdom. He didn't ask people to believe without question. He asked them to test, observe, and understand for themselves. This revolutionary approach remains as relevant today as it was over 2,000 years ago. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, let us know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe. See you next time.